Hello everyone and welcome to the top 10 best base locations for PvP in Ark Survival Ascended on Ragnarok. So coming in at number 1, we're going to be here in the Redwoods. Looking for these two fallen trees. Here's where we're located on the map at 61.2 and 44.2. When you see these two trees, you'll see one more just left of them. Go just a little bit farther to the left, and then from here, you'll notice there's a little hole in the wall here. Work your way in here, and this place is pretty large. It only takes 2 doors to actually close this. Pretty easy to miss if you're not paying attention. As you can see, we do have the mesh wall here, but it's pretty massive. You can place beds down, as you can see. I can, in fact, let me see here, pick the bed up, so you are good to go for respawning. Over here, you'll notice that there's even more room to work with down here as well, and you could keep going. And then additionally, if you go all the way up, you can actually build up here. And this is actually going to be a second entrance. I cannot seem to place a bed down here and pick it up. I tried earlier, and it won't work, so you have to place the bed down there for sure. But here's going to be the other entrance, which you do have to crouch to get out of, which will bring you back to the other side of the Redwoods, located here at 6145.2. Alright, let's move on over to the second location. Alright, now for the second location here, we're actually going to be moving just southeast of where we just were, located at 6156, in between the dunes and the middle snow biome. You'll notice there's going to be a little rock face here that is pretty thin, and you do have to crouch to actually get farther back, so of course you can't fit anything like a trike or a stego in here. But then as soon as you do get back here, there's an insane amount of room to actually work with. You can't fit an indie forge in here. I did try, but the bed does work. And it's pretty easy, of course, to block off, as you noticed here. So if anybody finds the base, it might not be too hard for them to raid you with rockets or even C4. But it is pretty well hidden, so for any single or solo or duo looking to find a pretty well hidden base that's large, that's not in a cave, this is probably going to be the place. Alright, now coming in at the number 3 spot, we're going to be located here in the middle of the ocean. I have this labeled as metal because that's basically Metal Mountain. There's a bunch of metal up there, but you're in between the 2 different desert biomes. You're actually going to be heading just down here to the left, and you'll see this mesh looking structure here, and as you can see, here's going to be the base. Coming on in here, it is slightly noticeable, more so than the other two, but you've got quite a bit of room to work with. You've got this amount here, and then climbing up here, you do have all this room. And then there is another entrance up here you will have to block off. I don't know what that looks like from the outside. We'll have to take a look here. And then you can actually go even further down with more room. And then beneath this is actually water, but not water that people have access to from the ocean, but just random water that you can place a tap in. There's no exit or entrance from the water side. Real quick, let's just take a look though and see. Oh, so I put those other pieces of walls up there. I think that's this one here. Yeah, so as you can see, that's really all you see is this wall here. It's not too bad of a spot though, considering that, like I mentioned, there is some metal just directly above you, and then you do have the large cave over here, which is actually where we're going to be headed for the next location. Alright, now for the next location, like I mentioned, we're going to be here in the cave at 80.361.7. So in here, there's technically 2 locations, but I'm just going to count it as one. Kind of more of a beginner-friendly one, and then more of a kind of middle-tier one. So as you work your way in, coming from the not dune side, so coming from this direction here, you'll see on the right there's going to be a small hole and a whole bunch of crystal. So drop down, and that crystal should stay to your right. And you'll notice right here in the corner, there's going to be a small little opening. This is definitely a beginner base. It actually runs all the way through, so basically it's kind of one way to get from this side of the cavern to this way if you're walking. I do have it blocked off with just one wall, but you can fit a bed in here. The bed does in fact work. You can get a couple of crates, a smithy, and 2 forges. Just to show you what the other side looks like though, if we break this down, and I'm probably going to have to pick this up. This is going to be the other side here with some crystal, also very pretty, very well hidden. You would not notice it unless you're specifically looking for it, and it's going to be on an elevated surface up here, so chance of somebody just randomly stumbling on it is not very high. Alright, now the other location, directly from this location, we're going to go back to the beginning of the entrance here. And then again, this is going to be facing from the non-dune side. As you get in here, look to your left, you're going to see this flat surface here. And on this surface, you'll notice a very horizontal, perfectly flat piece with the crystals to your left. And as you can see, I've got a base built in here, pretty high up on the cliff. If somebody finds it, it won't be too hard for them to raid it. Where'd my door go? I think I just placed down walls. Oh, here we go. This is the secret doorway. But there's quite a bit of room in here. The bed does work, as I mentioned, just right here. You can pick it up. We've got 3 forges, fabricator, plenty of more room to build, so very, very spacious. But you will notice if you are down here with those walls there, you really can't see it. I mean, maybe if you're paying attention. And if you come down here, you really can't see it. You can see this wall here. So if you wanted to bring it back one more to make it a little bit easier to hide, you can definitely do that. But from a distance, you really got to be looking for it. So another great spot here in this same cavern. All right, now for this next location, we're actually back to where we were for location number 3, which is going to be here at 82.959. So if this location here, which was spot number 3, is taken, or if you just simply don't want to build there, you can go out over here to the cove on the right. And this is not a cave per se, and it's a lot easier to raid. And you do have to use the pillar as a foundation, but you have this very large space that is tucked away. And again, unless somebody specifically is looking for you, that's pretty hard to find. Alternatively, if you want something a lot more user-friendly, because you do have to swim out over here or fly, and this water, as you can see, is infested with sharks. Back out here at number 3 again, you can just go to the left here. On the left-hand side is a more beginner-friendly base, but also pretty well hidden. You want to go through and crouch down here, and as you can see, you've got quite a bit of room to work with. The bed does not work in this location or that other water location, so you will have to place one outside. You can stand up back here. There is not room for a Fabby, so definitely a beginner location. But it is pretty hard to tell from the outside, so if you take a look here with the shadows and the rocks, even if somebody had shadows turned off, that is still pretty hard to see just due to how limited that entrance space is. So yeah, those are going to be the 2 locations for this spot. Alright, for the next location, we're actually going to be located here at 48.1, 12.2. There's a waterfall here. As you can see, the stego will not fit in here. I don't know if a trike will, I did not try. Inside here, there are onyx you will have to clear out, but this is probably one of the most spacious areas on the map with the small entrance like that. And there's even more room over here as well. I don't remember, I believe the bed worked. Let me double check. Yes, it did. So the bed does work. There's a load of resources in here. But then outside here as well, once you do get set up for resources, just above you here on the mountaintop, you will have some metal just around the corner here. All up and around here and here. And then for turrets, if you just go over to this little cove right here, you can actually handpick a bunch of silica pearls, as well as use the whip if you have a upgraded whip, to get quite a few to keep your turret supply up and going. And yeah, it's a pretty good spot. Located just directly across from the swamp as well. Alright, for the next location, we're actually going to be located right here on the map in the jungle biome at 21.9, 24.7. So you're going to head straight down in between where all these vines are at, following the waterfall here. And then once you're here, you're going to go through and look for this giant tree in the middle. Hopefully it's not knocked down. Go to the right. You'll see these vines hanging out here. When you see these vines on your right-hand side, you're going to turn ever so slightly and look up here in the corner. And then up here in the corner, you will notice that there's going to be a decent place to actually go through and build. And the bed does work. Fabricator will fit up here. Whole bunch of room, whole bunch of space. Now, if this is too exposed, like I have it here, honestly, I would probably remove this one because you can actually see this pretty easily from the ground down there. So I would just pull this out and probably make it no bigger than that. But potentially even, yeah, I'll probably keep it like that, actually. I'd just stay probably around there if you can, because down here, if people were to raid you, you know, they could see you. And, well, actually, it's pretty hard to see. They would have to know to come up here to look. But yeah, it's pretty well hidden. And be a great starting point, even like a mid-game point too, for a solo or for a duo. Alright, enough of this next location. We're actually still in the jungle biome, just to the west of it at 34.4, 26.6. This is definitely not a long-term base, but if you're finding a hard place to set up early on, or again, you're solo or duo and just trying to survive, there's 2 spaces here, both of which can be pretty good because they're pretty well hidden. As you can see, you do have this rock face here, and I've got a small little base here. Might even be worth breaking down to make it a 1x2, but you can potentially see it from the ground if we pop down here. And it's pretty well hidden unless they chop down the trees. And yeah, you can barely see that sticking out. And then again from the sky up here, you can't really see it unless you knock down the trees. And the second location is going to be just to the left of it. So you'll pass this cliff, it actually ends, so you can't build all the way across. There'll be another pillar right here. Also an elevated position, and this is going to be at 33.4, 27.3. And again, from above, you can't really see it. You'd have to kind of be looking for it. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. But yeah, pretty decent spots for at least getting started off. Not amazing spots, but definitely somewhere to stay safe as a small tribe. All right, now this next location is actually going to be in the canyons area. It's going to be located right here at 35.5, 50.5. This is more or less of a base and a better second outpost for a respawn point, or even some forages so you can smelt some of the metal from some of the surrounding area and just come grab it need be whenever you want. I almost wouldn't even put down protection or defenses because people will probably just raid it and destroy your stuff for no reason. I wouldn't keep anything valuable here, but it would be nice to just keep a bed here. That way if you need to respawn and get halfway back across the map pretty quick, you can do that. And the bed here does work, of course, as well, as you can see here. Again, I would not put anything valuable here, but it is worth mentioning because it is so high, elevated up. It would not be as easily discoverable some of the stuff down on the lower beach areas. Alright, now for the final location, we're going to be located here in the Volcanic region, which is an extremely dangerous area, but if you are playing solo and you need somewhere safe, this is probably going to be a great spot because not a lot of people are going to look here, and you will avoid the lava as well, but do be careful of all the vicious creatures here. It's going to be located just down here. It's going to be located at 17.1, 65.9. Just above the water here, and as you open it up, we'll go on this side. As you can see, there's a decent amount of room in here, enough for 2 forages, a smithy, and you can throw down some storage. You probably could get a 3rd forage right here as well. The only bad part is that beds do not work here, so the closest place that I could find that had a bed was actually just around the back here, which was right here. I was able to throw down a bed here, and you can just hop on over these rocks and walk around. Obviously, when there's no lava, otherwise you'll get burnt to a crisp. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't worry, PvE locations will be next. I did not forget about those. And if you guys haven't already, consider joining the Discord to see what content's coming next. I'll see you all next time.